Well, hello and welcome to our program today. This is called Accelerate Your Cash Machine, and my name is Curran, author of Leap Beyond Your Limits, and I'm really happy to do this special interview with a very special person, specifically for the BIG organization. BIG stands for Believe, Inspire, and Grow. And I have to say, I've spoken at many of the local pods, and the energy of these groups is unmatched. Everyone is so positive. Everyone is working together to help each other. It's really a great organization. I'm proud to be helping it any way I can. And today we have a very special interview with Loral Langemeier. She is the Millionaire Maker. She's the money expert. She is a New York Times best-selling author, and she's a leading entrepreneurial speaker. She's been, she's worked with thousands and thousands of people, helping them as entrepreneurs to actually earn money and invest it properly. She started her own business from scratch at age 17, and by 34 has established a multi-million-dollar portfolio. And she's built a number of businesses in a variety of industries, including real estate, green recycled glass, online marketing firms. The list goes on. She's the founder and CEO of Live Out Loud. That is her company. And she's shared her strategies at seminars all over the world. She has a big presence in Australia and now Asia. She's the author of 4 national best-selling books, which are The Millionaire Maker, The Millionaire Maker's Guide to Wealth Cycle Investing, The Millionaire Maker's Guide to Creating a Cash Machine for Life, and her just-released book, Put More Cash in Your Pocket. That's this book right here. And she's appeared on CNN, CNBC, The Street TV, Fox News Channel, Fox Business Channel, The Dr. Phil Show, and The View. And she's been featured in articles in USA Today and The Wall Street Journal and many, many others. So, Loral, I want to give you a hearty welcome to this special presentation for the BIG group. Welcome.
Well, thank you. It's great to be here, and look forward to giving all of these folks some cool information about how to make money every day. Every day.
They are a really powerful and energetic group of entrepreneurs. I was just at a meeting Friday, and it was phenomenal. The connections that were made in that meeting were tremendous. So we're going to get into some specifics of certain businesses that some of these women have, and also some of the challenges they're having. Hopefully you can answer some questions on that. But let's start with the big picture. Let's start with the economy here. Is the economy getting better? What are your clients telling you?
Well, I don't think it's only what the clients. I think the client behavior is starting to show that it's turning. But I follow some world-leading economists, and there's definite indicators that it's getting better. In the 1933, recession, depression, called the Great Depression, only 2 things happened, right? The stock market crashed, there was a run on the bank. There were 7 big indicators that took this one down, and this one, almost every indication is going to make the 1933 walkthrough look a little like a kindergarten game. And we've been through some tough stuff, and again, a lot more indicators. We've got credit issues, which then affected the real estate, which affected unemployment. And this one, though, I think what we're seeing in the economy more than anything is that the industrial age model of 30-year jobs, 401ks, and this social net that we call here in America, it's done. That's time's had its time. I was interviewed yesterday by just a awesome economist, and he and I were both saying the same thing, is the problem with America is they're very lazy, they're entitled, they've lived in this way for so long that entrepreneurialism is what's going to bring us back to a great nation, and everyone needs to get to the playing field. 17 million people standing in the unemployment line, there's no jobs for them. They're going to have to become more entrepreneurial. Everyone's going to have to become more entrepreneurial, create new money, get back into this creative space of what really founded our great nation. And so, yeah, I think it's slowly going to turn. I think there's a lot of things that are going to have to move for that to occur. But we're starting to see it. And I really am a huge fan of everybody taking, their own personal economies into their own hands and doing something real about it.
So would you say, is this a good time to be an entrepreneur? And if so, how so?
I think it's the greatest time because, statistically what we've seen is that every every big generational wealth change happened like this year. It'd be like the year following the recession depression. So some people have, have already moved and really gotten alignment. There's real estate on sale. There's businesses on sale. I've acquired several businesses for $0 as an initial investment. The time is amazing. Generational wealth is going to happen right now, and it's been proven statistically. Every recession, there's huge transfers of wealth by those who are able to be more adaptive, more collaborative, shift. You see airlines merging, you see telecoms merging, you see, businesses after businesses are either collaborating, merging, getting very agile, very, very fast. These big, huge dog companies are not going to be really what we're going to see in the future. It's going to be small, medium-sized, very fast businesses that can shift quickly. Those who made it through the recession, depression, knew how to make their own money. They made the shifts very, very quickly, and that's not going to stop. That's going to be a new standard as an entrepreneur. So I think being an entrepreneur, making new money, and then investing that money back into America to buy back America is the greatest time and the greatest transfer of wealth will happen. And Chris, the biggest concern is the amount of people who still are, really holding on to that industrial age model. They just won't let it go. We're not going back. I was going to say this, the gentleman I was out interviewing with, he and I both agree. He's got a, really large Dallas radio show and said, so many callers say, when's it going to go back to the way that it was? It's not. We're not going back anywhere to what it looks, breathes, or smells like. We're going forward to a new place and a whole new set of rules for the economy and how to do business have now emerged. And a lot of people are not current to those, which is why they're still struggling, and they're not really feeling the change of the economy because they're really stuck. They want to do it like they did in 2005 and 6. Those rules don't apply anymore. You've got to come, forward and get some new business rules, which, especially for this big audience out here and the amount of entrepreneurial, really women that are watching, I hope they're made the shifts and we can talk about some of those.
Yeah, so let's get down. Let's kind of drill down more specifically with someone who's becoming an entrepreneur, either starting a business or maybe has a business and hasn't really put a lot of energy into it. What are some of the ways that they can start to bring in new cash and sort of expand their business?
Well, I can tell you, marketing and sales has become, just foremost leading indicators. You have got to have proper marketing on and offline. There was a time where you could just make a lot of money on the internet, and almost all the internet buddies I have, they have some form of offline, either seminar, coaching, education attached to it. So what I'm saying is 50-50. 50% of your business needs to be online, 50% offline. If you're a new starting business and you're working out of your home, you need to immediately, fastest path to cash, today cash, is in your community. Some other business owner needs your service. Some other community member needs your service. And then you use the internet like we're doing on a live stream to go to the world. We do this all the time. I'm in my studio almost every day that I'm home in Lake Tahoe if I'm not out on the road on other stages. So you've got to be 50-50. You've got to do very aggressive marketing. Some of the old rules of talking to people 3 to 5 times, it's now 9 to 11 times. The points of contact are enormous. People are really skeptical. So the discretionary buying power is huge. The amount of decisive sales conversation that you have to have. When do you want to start? How do you want to pay? Taking credit cards. It's amazing to me, Chris, how many new businesses still don't take credit cards in a time that plastic is, what's running our nation, really our world. I always say carrying a checkbook around is something of the 70s and 80s. So if you really want to make money, then why aren't you, having the ability in your company to take credit cards? Just very, what I call simple things are being missed and overlooked. Again, the marketing and sales, you're going to have to take payment plans. You have to price differently. You're going to have to price lower than you've priced, not like less quality, but you have to have a lower offering as an entry point, which, back in the heyday, you could have, probably had a low price of $1,000, $2,000 to get in. So there's just a lot of shifts. And what I'd call vertical market, rule breaking, like, I was working with I'll give you an example of a lawyer who said, well, I have to do a conflicts check. And I said, that would delay your cash. If you wanted money today, what could you educate us on? And everyone watching has education. And the difference between folks watching and me is I've taken my knowledge, my expertise out of my head, and I put it into best-selling books, and I have a way that people can, consume and buy my knowledge. And that's really some of the first steps of some of these newer businesses. They need to get their knowledge in a way that we can consume, and that's where the internet comes in handy too.
You brought up marketing and sales, and every time, because we've spoken a lot, we've worked together, I've interviewed you before, and marketing and sales always comes up. It's this thing that, especially someone who has never been an entrepreneur, they go into their business, they start their business, and it's almost like they don't know what to do. And there may be some fear or some hesitation with regards to this speaking with someone one-on-one and speaking to a lot of different people one-on-one, and maybe even telling them what you have and asking for the money. Do you see that's a big problem with a lot of folks?
I do, and I think that what's interesting is if you look at any business, I always say there's 6 functions of every company. You market, number one, to get names, phone numbers, and emails. You have to then call and sell them, or meet them face-to-face and sell them. You have to put money in the bank, which is your accounting function. Then you fulfill the thing you sold. Then you do customer service and follow-up, and then you have technology. So what's interesting, it doesn't matter what the fulfillment, the widget is. You have 3 key entrepreneurial skills that are not being properly taught. So marketing, sales, and accounting actually precede, and it's where the money's really made. The money isn't made when you coach somebody. The money's not made when you massage somebody. The money's not made when you do acupuncture treatment. The money's not made when you clean a house. The money's made when you sell somebody. And so there's just improper training. And so what I really carry the message for is when people say, well, I'm no good at marketing and sales, I say you've just never been properly trained. So don't even make up that story. You don't know how to do it. And the wealthiest people in the world are introverts. So you can't play that little game and say, well, I just, I'm too shy and an introvert. Well, so is Bill Gates and so is Warren Buffett. You learn how to do it. And you learn how to do it in a very authentic way. It doesn't have to be my way. It doesn't have to be your way, Chris. But you learn how to do it. So a lot of my attention has really gone from this broader Millionaire Maker work, which we still do a lot of that sophisticated work, but really what we've seen through the recession, I call it the R&D, the recession depression this time, is those who knew how to make their own money. They really knew how to make their own money. They're the ones that are standing and thriving. So you have got to learn how to market and sell in this new economy. And there's just, again, a lot of techniques that I teach. I do this workshop, 3 days to cash, and everyone's guaranteed to make money. And that's really, it's a hands-on, very practical way to how do you have these quick talk tracks. Like, here's an example of a fast, marketing talk track. When I meet someone, I'll say, my name's Loral. I'm a money expert. I guarantee you money in 3 days. How can I help you in the area of money? And it's just that quick. It's like just 4 quick statements that everyone watching, you got to pick that up and claim yourself to be an expert, even if you're not. Like someday you will become one. And if you don't start claiming that space, you really have to do a lot of convincing and a lot of work. Just claim it, right? You're an expert in whatever you're an expert in. Make a claim for whatever you're going to say your big claim to fame is, like mine is guaranteed money in 3 days. And then immediately start asking questions so you can get into which transitions you to the sales conversation. And so once I know how I can help you in the area of money, then I can actually, purposefully say, well, do you start with my books? Do you start with a workshop? Do you need coaching? Do you need mentoring? So I'm thinking, well, you're telling me how I can help you, what to do. And I mean, right there is probably $1 trillion worth of tips if people actually execute those talk tracks and get to where the transaction point is. When do you want to start? How do you want to pay? It's check, cash, or credit. I mean, you've got to have the ability to make those dollars. But the larger conversation, Chris, is if you don't know how to put money in your pocket, it's interesting that you know how to fulfill something, but not helpful. It's not helpful, and so many people are worried about what they're doing, not how they're actually accomplishing it as an entrepreneur, and that's the skill set they need to be focused on right now if they're really going to walk through and make some really great money in this recovery time.
You bring up a great point there about skills and skill sets, and I've heard you talk before about people staying in their skill sets. And I got to say, most of the women I meet through the big organization really are talented and have skills in certain areas, and they really want to do well, but they just don't have those skills of marketing and selling. And I can picture a few of them online right now, kind of, their head spinning a little bit with everything you're telling, because they just don't see themselves as that experts. They're not ready to claim that space yet. So what kind of internal belief structure. What can you say about their belief structures?
Well, I'm gonna back up and say there's a 5-step process that I teach. Is number one, do what you know how to do. And what a lot of women do more than men is you spread out wide. You try to do a whole bunch of things hoping one will hit. You've got to get really focused, really clear. What's the one thing you're going to do? And then model someone else. Many times, again, women kind of, we're great collaborators, but if you're the biggest fish in your pond or you really don't have a millionaire mentor, if you want to be a millionaire, you have to be mentored by a millionaire. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And if you want to be a multimillionaire, then you got to go claim that as, the next place. So somebody's already done what you want to do. So get very focused and very clear on one thing. What are you going to do? And let's grow it to 100,000. And then model someone else. And then we're going to break it down into daily production. What's the amount of money you need to make every day to get that financial goal? So for example, if you wanted an extra $100,000, that's $416 a day. So then you say, what do I need to do to market and sell, which is steps 4 and 5, to generate enough business to have my $416 a day. So if you're a massage therapist, you're making around $100 an hour. That's 4 booked massages, 5 days a week. That's 20 a week. That's a lot of marketing and sales. So really, Chris, the reason why I want to say that is, having been in The Secret, and there's this new, great movie coming out. It's called Tapping the Source. It's actually just launching. And this is where the actionability of really manifesting comes in, is do you want to make money or not? And if the answer is yes, you will learn to market and sell. No one's just going to walk in your door, especially in these kind of times, and just lay down cash. It's a very competitive marketplace. So knowing there's buying power and knowing that you serve and fulfill a really good skill, whatever that is. You could be a writer, you could be a web designer, again, a dentist, an acupuncturist. I don't care what the thing is that you do. You could be a network marketing. There's not a business we haven't touched or put our hands on. But you have got to be the one out leading your marketing and sales and talking very certain about what it is you do and how you can do 2 things. And think about this as an entrepreneur. Are you solving problems and meeting needs? So when women can get their head wrapped around that, right? If I'm solving problems and meeting needs, and I know there's buying power. So if you're not buying my stuff, you're going to buy somebody else's stuff. And if mine's better, then I think you owe it to the client to really serve them. I'm not saying sell them hard, serve them. Because if you're better and you know your service is better, I think it's a ripoff for you to get kind of scared. And so to that internal dialogue, what I find most is a lot of women either don't think they deserve it, they don't think they're worth it, they're so used to giving and contributing to the family that they're usually the last one in line to give to themselves. But there's also just an odd psychology of abundance in there. So again, I find a lot of people coming out of the recession, depression time have dual conversations. They say they want to make money, and they do the exact behavior that's a saboteur of that claim. So if you want to make money, yeah, you will learn to market, you will learn to sell. I'll help you. Chris, I'm one of the best at it. I know how to do it, and that's not an arrogant claim. It's just the truth. I know that I do, and I've helped people make money in 3 days. So, and every woman listening needs to take on that same certainty. But it is. I'd say it's either, with women, it's deservability or worth and putting themselves last and giving stuff away. With men, if there's more of a looking good program and needing to be right, it's a little different, but it's all in the same category of your relationship to money. We all grew up with odd relationships to money, I think.
Mm. Yeah, I've worked with you personally, and this quote from T. Harv Eker, Loral is the real deal. She actually makes millionaires. I know. So you have so much experience at this. That's why I created this opportunity for the big folks to have some time for you. So this little program today, we're calling it Accelerate Your Cash Machine, because I know each of the women in big either have a cash machine that they want to get churning more, or they want to begin one. And at the event on Friday, there was a professional organizer, there was an at-home trainer, there was a photographer, there was someone with a green energy business, there was a chef who wanted to have a food truck. So there's a lot of, silver and gemstone jewelry. There was a CPA as well. And, so a lot of these folks have, are these businesses that are viable, Loral?
All these businesses, Chris. I'm shaking my head like I'm yep. And the key isn't about what they're doing. The key is, I'll just go, teach into some real tactical things. is all of them are viable. So I'm going to back up just a little bit and say, but what are the top in the industry right now? Elder care, handyman service, pet care, technology services. I mean, just listen to what I'm saying. Service, service, service. How can you help other people move their life forward quick? That's where the trends that we're seeing. A lot of franchises, moving. In-home cooking, just service is what's really moving in today's market right now. So all of those work. But where I want the women thinking, let's go back to the $416 a day, is I would rather have you sell a $20 to $50 item, right? Let's just say a $20 item to 100 people, right, through the course of the week, because then you have 100 people to then call back and sell a $200 item, and then maybe a $1,000 item. So you have more to work with. Where I think a lot of folks who had a nice run pre-R&D, pre-recession depression, they could go out and get a $2,000 sale and be happy for the week. That's not the model anymore. I mean, the model is a lot of small things. I call it my dating model. You're going to take people on a lot of small dates because the trust and the skepticism has been blown in through the market. So you're really going to compete for business in that space of doing a lot of small things. And if you don't like the dating metaphor, then use a menu, right? You're going to have a lot of little appetizers, and before you're going to get to a main course or a 5-course meal. So like the real estate folks, that are watching, they're in a marriage model. They want somebody to go buy a $40,000, $50,000, $100,000 home with them. That's not going to happen. I mean, the competition out there and the amount of people that are vying for those dollars is huge. So I'd rather see you give some education, give some knowledge, give a report, clean the houses out. I have some people who are doing, garage selling, pawn selling, estate selling. I mean, just getting rid of stuff. Again, handyman, do the fix and flip, do the cleaning service. There's so much money in real estate in the pipeline to the house, especially working with investors, that they're just bypassing all this cash. Like, I can see cash in every one of these business models so clearly. And again, is the real question to those watching, are you willing to shift the model? And how do you get money every day? That's really where you got to think. If I was going to buy something from you today, what could I do? What could I do today? Like, it's interesting you mentioned jewelry, because I got this necklace from some women that were out in Tennessee, and the woman didn't take credit cards. And she said, well, just send me a check later. So instead of getting money from me that day, right, because she wasn't set to take a credit card, it took at least a week by the time I got back home to Tahoe and got things through my accounting department. But it's still, why wait 5 days when you can do it today? And I really want to challenge. There's a lot of excuses and stories, and I'll call them lies you tell yourself about why it can't happen today. Interior designers are another one. Where they think that they're going to bill afterwards, or they're going to have appointments and then afterwards. No, where's the money today? Today, if you're going to take money, you have to remodel. So what I'm really speaking about is you have to shift your business model and then market and sell to that model. And what I see, and I think you've seen it too, because you have been around our community at Live Out Loud so much, is the model, like people hold on to a model because it feels safe, and they don't shift it. And then they're doing marketing that's 2003, 4, and 5 kind of marketing and sales, and it's not marrying up. They really have to take a good hard look at what are they doing, what are they offering, are they out asking for money frequently enough? If you want money, you got to ask for it, and it's sort of an obvious statement, but it's true. If you want it, you need to ask, and people will pay you. And same with the internet. I mean, how many of you have proper databases where you can actually email and have money come into your store? And really drop into your bank account every day. So it's interesting, right? I'm going to go back to, do you want to make money or not? And if you do, all these things I'm speaking about have got to get set on your businesses. And these, I'm not talking about 70, 90, 120-day fixes. I'm talking about 7-day, 10-day. Like, these are fast fixes we can help you with to solve it, and so we can put some cash in your pocket today. A whole different, you've seen it too, Chris, the amount of psychology and shifts that people make when they are making daily cash. They're all new humans.
Yeah, I've seen people change on the spot.
Yeah.
It's really incredible. I was just one of the last questions I was going to ask you is, what can people do first? But I think you just nailed it, sort of reevaluating, what you're selling and
Yep.
and how to market and sell and earn money every day.
You have to. And, I know that because of your connection to this group, we have a great 4-book package that I have the Millionaire Maker, the Wealth Cycle Investing, which is how do you invest like a true millionaire. And I'll tell you right now, those kind of assets are very, very viable and on sale. to how do you build a six-figure business, my cash machine book, and then put more cash in your pockets a little different because it's about the consistency. How do you get, some of you I know watching, here's your cash flow, right? Up and down, up and down. How do you get the consistency of cash flow? If they say cash is king, then cash flow is queen, because cash flow is where your daily life gets supported. And my whole hope for you is that you figure out how to fix that model, market and sell, start working with me. I'd love to work with all of you. And Chris, do you want to give the link for this great 4-book package? It's normally over, $100, and we're giving it just a ridiculous deal because I want you really to get it. I want to help these women get it.
Yeah, I've read your books, and I can say that there's so much knowledge in these 4 books that this is a great way to start. Not everyone has a lot of income to spend on training themselves to these new habits and new business techniques, if you will. So these 4 books are a great way for people to get started, and just the amount of knowledge in there is incredible. So I'll give you the link for the 4-book special. It's www.liveoutloud.com/goalability.
Okay.
I'll say it again, and it'll be listed under the video as well. www.liveoutloud.com/goalability. And this is the must-have set for every entrepreneur, I believe. And Loral, I really want to thank you for coming on here and sharing this. I know we can only cover so much in a short amount of time, and I just feel like always feel like tapping your brain just a little bit more. So thank you so much.
Absolutely, and my challenge is get in action, get in the right action. Being busy isn't helpful. You got to do the right thing at the right time. Get very efficient about your time. We, as women, there's always this story about, how we're pulled in 900 directions. You got to say, what are the top things you got to do today, and get focused on just them.
Great. Well, we'll put the link for the 4-book package there. They can always visit your website, liveoutloud.com, and I'm happy to stay in touch with the big group and with you, Loral. So again, thank you very much, and I hope everyone can visit the link and take advantage of this opportunity as well.
Absolutely. Thanks, Chris.
Sure. Goodbye, Loral, and goodbye to everyone watching. Thank you so much. Bye.